Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are, or good evening. So today's yin class, we're going to work on thinking about what stops us moving forward in our postures, in our, excuse me, in our yin practice. The things that we're looking for, the intention of our yin practice is to look for tension and create tension, or to look for compression and create compression. So we don't want any compressions that are sharp or bony, where we're perhaps getting bone-on-bone compression. Sometimes we get a pinch into some areas, often the hip, when we come down into a child's pose, and we'll play with that today, where maybe we get a pinch with the hip bone and the skin. We're looking to create this kind of squeeze between the tissues, and also to lengthen the tissue. So just in this kneeling position, I'm already lengthening my ankle, I'm lengthening the front of the shin, around the knees. So those are the things we're looking for. It's what we would term as positive stress. So we want to stress the tissues positively so that they can change. So all the way through this practice, I'm going to ask you to look at what's stopping you moving forward. And of course, with our yin practice, we're working on the principles of traditional Chinese medicine. So we're also working with these energy lines that run through the body, unseen until perhaps recently. Now MRIs are starting to show that the areas of dense fascia seem to correlate a lot with the areas where in traditional Chinese medicine they have laid out these maps of channels through the body, that when those maps or lines get disrupted, then it can affect us physically and emotionally. So sometimes when we come into a posture, what stops us is emotionally, it can feel perhaps a little stressful, it can feel a little frustrating, we could feel irritable, angry, so sad. Lots of emotions can come up. So that could be because we are stressing those energy lines as well. So just good to notice. So lots of props today, and even we're on the mat as we are with yin all the time, but our knees will be on the mat at points in the class. So you could even put a blanket in underneath you, have a cushion, a couple of blocks, bolsters always good if you've got one, pile of books, a chair. Don't let not having props stop you. These great blocks here from places like Kmart or Bed Bath & Beyond. These ones come from a yoga group. So yeah, don't let it stop you. It can, and you don't even need a yoga mat, especially for yin. You can just be on the floor, put a towel down. So grab your props. And I know when you're practicing at home on your own, it's much more challenging to stay in the poses. So I'm going to try and help you to stay there, but just imagine that you are in a classroom situation, and normally when we're in a classroom, we tend not to leave a posture as quickly as we would when we've had enough at home. Always come out of a pose if it's painful, and pain being sharp, pain being any shooting pain, something that you're holding your breath around, and it can take a while to discern what's a good pain or a good stretch and what is actually pain. So really, we're on the side of caution. We'll start with a little bit of movement. Actually, I'll just lay my bolster down out of the way, push that back, and just come onto the knees. You can sit onto your block if you need to. The hips will lift a little bit when we do this. We're just going to take our little yin sun salutation. If you don't need blocks, you can just sit onto your heels. You could sit onto your heels on a cushion. You could have a cushion in under the ankles. Get yourself pretty comfortable, and then just find a nice long spine. Crown of the head reaching up. Feel whatever's connected into the floor, and notice that connection. And then you're going to turn your biceps out towards the outer edges. So we start to broaden across the front of the chest, draw the front ribs in, and looking for a nice long spine. So we're lifting the lower ribs up away from the hips. Crown of the head reaches up, space in the neck. Gently draw the chin back and just connect. Start to feel that connection. Yin is very grounding. It's much more about slowing down than speeding up. It's much more about our feminine energies than our masculine energies. Looking, it's a cooler energy, a darker energy. So notice what you've arrived with. And it might take you a few rounds to get the hang of this. We connect our movement and our breath. So we're going to inhale, raise the arms up, look up, palms come to touch. And on the exhale, the hands will come down behind the head, elbows stay wide. Keep that exhale going. It's a long exhale and press the hands away. As if you're pressing through water. Turn the palms to face up. The fingertips are going to touch the shoulders. And then on the exhale, you're going to draw the navel back, round through the spine and press forward as if you're pushing something away. The inhale, we turn the palms to face up, looking up, sweep the arms up overhead, and then fold forward, exhale, and brush the hands back, all the way back behind you, and reach the arms up for your inhale, big wide arms, big full breath. We need a long inhale because we've got a really long exhale as we bring the hands down behind the head. Keep that exhale going if you can, press the palms away. Yes, inhale time, fingertips to shoulders, and then the exhale, we press away. Inhale to look up as if you're drawing an arc over yourself, and then fold forward. You're going to turn sideways so you can see from a different angle. Reach the arms back, the arms go wide, big full inhale. Breathing in, breathing in, breathing in. Exhale, hands come back down behind the head. Keep that exhale going as you press your palms away. Inhale, bring the fingertips to the shoulders. Exhale, rounding through the spine, leaning back, chin tucks down. Press as if you're pushing something out. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. And then exhale, fold from the hips. Reach the arms back. Long spine here. And then sweep all the way back up. Full breath. Exhale slowly as if you're drawing something down behind you. Keep that breath going if you can. Press the palms away. Inhale. Bring the fingers to the shoulders. Keep the elbows wide. And then exhale, chin to chest. Round through the spine. Inhale, sweep up. And exhale to fold. One more round and then we'll stay down in our forward bend. So inhale, sweep the arms up. Reach the arms away from each other. Looking up. Exhale, keep the front ribs tucked in as you draw the hands back behind you. Keep that breath going. Press the palms away. The inhale brings the fingertips to the shoulders. And then exhale like our cat pose. Inhale, arching, coming into our back bend. And then exhale, we're going to fold here. So you can keep the arms back behind you, palms facing up. If your forehead doesn't comfortably reach the floor and your head feels like it's kind of hanging or floating, then just pop a block in under the head or a cushion. Shoulders can slump forward. And then just start to notice the compression. So here we've got a compression between our belly and our thighs for many of us. Some of us will have a compression between the upper leg and the lower leg. And we'll all have a compression between the floor and the front of the shins and the ankles. Forehead is gently compressing into the block or the cushion or the floor. And generally with a compression, you can't go any further. That's the end of the line. For me, my belly and thighs have connected, the backs of my legs are connected, there's nowhere else I can go here. And as we get that gentle squeeze of the tissues,
we start to stimulate a response. That's what we're looking for, to build new collagen, elastin, squeezing some blood out of the tissues, so when I open up I'll get a nice fresh flow of blood supply. And then the tension here, I'm getting tension as there's a stretch or length in the front of my legs, and the shins and around the knees. There's some length happening in through the hamstrings and around the lower back, up into the shoulders. And there's even some tension across my upper back as my shoulders are draping forward. So just notice, where is the tension, where is the compression, and what stops you going any deeper? Is it compression? Is it tension? How is the breath here? This compression between the belly and the thighs is going to mean that the breath is probably going to be pushed back into the back part of the body. Feel the expansion of the rib cage. Feel the shoulder blades moving with breath. And then from here, all we're going to do is just bring the hands back and under the shoulders. You might find when we come into the neck shape, if you have got a cushion in under your head, you might not need it. So you're just going to widen your knees out. So you create a little bit more space for your torso to kind of nestle down inside of the thighs. You can make a little pillow with your arms. The head could rest on the floor. And for many of us, this would have created a little bit more tension somewhere, and possibly even a different kind of compression, more into the groin area, into the lower belly. Once you reach this edge or place of enough sensation, and then we don't want to force, we don't want to muscle our way in, we want to feel a tension or a compression, just enough. And then we want to find stillness and stay for time. Particularly with tension, with the lengthening of the tissue, you really may notice a change starts to happen here. Maybe as you settle in you feel a lot, and then it might start to ease as that tissue starts to lengthen and rehydrate. Or you might not have felt a lot to start with, and the longer you're in the shape, the more that's starting to show up as the body sinks a little more. Checking here and seeing that you're soft enough through the shoulders and through the ribs, that the body's expanding, the shoulder blades are breathing with you. The throat soft, the jaw soft. Scanning the left side of the body and noticing what you feel on the left. And around the legs, the glutes, the lower back, shoulders, the arms. And just shifting your attention over to the right side. What's going on the right? between the left side and the right side. Nothing to change, just to notice. And sometimes when we notice, just by paying attention, the body starts to adjust. The mind starts to wander off. Just come back to the breath or scan for sensation. No need to label the sensation in anything other than tension or compression. If the story starts to come up, just acknowledge it and then pop it off to the side. Also check in and notice what's going on emotionally. If there is a story, what's that about? Is there any frustration? Are you starting to feel a little irritable? We get into the liver line of the body here, which often brings up frustration, irritability and anger. Or it can have the opposite virtues of feeling joyful and peaceful and contented. And just start to make your way onto your forearms. I'm either going to get you to take your knees a little wider so that we add some more tension on the inside of the legs, or you can come up and bring your hips in line with your knees. Take the feet out a little wider. You could turn the toes out and start to widen the knees even more. So coming into our frog pose, this is called. So what we often will tend to do is lean back, or we'll tend to lean forward to escape the sensation that might arrive. And I want you to see if you can stay about in line. So the feet could come a little closer to each other. Let's see if you can keep the knee and the hips in line. For some of you, maybe coming up onto your blocks under your forearms could be a little more supportive. You could put a bolster right along the length of the body. Sometimes putting your blocks in underneath your belly and chest can also be quite supportive here. You can bring your hands down to the inner legs and just start to kind of draw the skin of the inner legs down towards the knees. When you have a landing place, I'm just going to turn to face you so that you can see perhaps where I'm putting these blocks. These are quite big blocks, so they're quite a good one, but if you haven't got bigger blocks, you can prop things up, but bringing that right in under my torso, legs are out wide, and the head could hang, or you could put a block in under the head, or bring your hands into prayer hands. So you can pray that this pose might end shortly. It's a strong pose. I'm going to use the props today, but definitely for many of us, taking props is a way that we manage to soften into the pose a little more. We get a sense of security, that we can't go too deep. So when you can start to feel also sensations like fear can come up in a pose, we can be pushing ourselves too much. The body starts to worry that we're going to overdo it, rightly so. Well, you don't want to underdo it, but we certainly don't want to overdo it. Now just notice here, and it can be a strong sensation, we're getting into that liver channel, so you can start to feel a little irritable and wonder how much longer we might have to hang in here for. Remember, anytime you need to come out of a pose, go for it. But just know why
What are you moving away from? For some of us, bringing the legs out in this shape, I'm going to turn again the other way, could bring quite a pinch into this upper hip area, and if that's happening, I want you to adjust that we maybe are getting a compression here where the top of the leg bone is meeting the cup of the hip socket, and if that's happening, you would need to bring your knees a little closer. For some of you, just coming out a little bit, bringing the knees in a little closer, coming back into a wide leg child's pose could be plenty. That's a good way to back out a little if it felt like you were going too deep. And then don't forget to breathe. Nice full inhale, long slow exhale. A big sigh out through the mouth every now and then can be a way of letting the body sink. And then check in, where are you kind of adding tension that you don't need it? Are your shoulders tensing? Is your jaw tensing? Check in and just notice if your body has tended to lean back or lean forward. And if you want to escape strong sensation for a moment, maybe you do adjust and sneak forward just to give yourself a break, or sneak back. But otherwise, we've got about 30 more seconds here, so see if you can scan through the body. Where is the tension? What's happening on the inside of the legs, and is there a difference between left and right? What's happening on the outside of the legs? Just 2 more breaths. And then twice as slow as you think you want to move, bring the hands in under the shoulders. Bring the toes a little closer to each other, or the feet a little closer, and slowly bring your knees towards each other. Come into a tabletop position with the hands in under the shoulders, knees in under the hips. Turn the biceps towards the front of the room so that you are not compressing into the shoulders, and we'll just take some little hip circles here. Go slow. Shift the weight from one hand to the other, one knee to the other. Let the head get involved, let the shoulders get involved. Oh, click, clunk. Lots of clicking and popping. And then take that the other way. And then you're just going to pop the hips off to one side. Grab some props, have them handy. So if you tend to sit, and I'm always telling you this, but if you tend to sit, and when you sit cross-legged or sit with your legs out in front, that you tend to collapse through the front body and you feel like you're falling back, then elevating the hips a little or a lot is going to help to give you this nice long spine. It gives us a little bit more of a tilt forward in the pelvis. And then we're going to come into half shoelace or shoelace pose. We'll try on both. So just take the feet a little wider, and you're going to slide your left leg across towards the right one. So just enough so it just crosses the midline. And for some, just check into the inner groin, and if there's a pinching happening there, just widen the leg. You're going to bend your right leg, pick it up and over, and we're going to slide that right foot across towards the left hip. And I know for many of you that that's not an easy shape to be in. For some, the leg won't reach the floor, so you could put a prop in underneath the ankle, put some cushions. You could have a prop in underneath the top knee. And I want you to check in here before we go any further to see what it feels like behind that back knee. Is there too much tension? Because the compression from the top leg on the bottom leg can sometimes hyperextend that bottom leg. So just pause for a moment. That's the lovely thing with our yin poses, is we've got so much time in a pose that we don't have to rush. And then I want you to keep a long spine and just start to lean in. Feel the sensation in probably the back of that left leg. And that's, for many, where we'll get our first bit of feedback. I'm going to turn sideways. So you could stop here for a while if that back of the left leg is where you're feeling the most amount of sensation. And just pause. You could put a block up onto the top knee. Now if you're feeling a lot in that bottom leg and it's what's stopping you leaning in, then maybe you put a cushion or a rolled up towel or a block in under that leg. And usually when that releases a little, you get a little bit more space to come forward. You're just moving in little increments. If we rush and push, we miss the feedback that the body's giving us. We miss the warning signs. And we don't allow the tissue time to change. Scan through the body. What stops you moving forward? Is it the left hamstring? Is it the right outer hip? Is it that your belly and thighs have met? Once you get your belly and your thigh together, there's no further that you can move. So then you just stay and you soften. Connect into the breath. Send breath into any areas where there is some sensation, some feedback coming back to you. Is there anywhere in the body that you can soften? And when you do soften, is there any change in the tissue? Does it create more tension or less tension? Does it give you a sense of compression or less compression? And just as an option for some of you, if you're quite open here, we've got the option of tucking that bottom left leg in and under, taking a similar shape to the right one. So if you're going to do that, just slowly, slowly, slowly start to bring yourself upright. You would lean back and then start to slide that left foot across towards the right outer hip. Over time, we're looking for the knees to stack. Sometimes you need to kind of lift up and just shimmy the hips a little to the left so that you can find a nice anchoring through that right hip. We want to try over time to let that right hip sink back down towards the floor. But if it means that you're leaning a little off to one side, and yin, that's fine. No problem, don't worry about it. That's okay, as long as you're not tensing or gripping. You could put a block in underneath that bottom knee. You could put a block between the bottom and the top if you need to. Remember, we're not looking for any kind of pain. Feedback for sure, and the feedback probably is going to come from the outer hips, maybe in around the IT bands. And then you can lean forward, same thing here. Props in under the forearms. You can put a prop in under the head. And for those of you who are in half shoelace and that didn't quite work for tucking that bottom leg in and under, you could start to bring a little more height in under that bottom knee, which might add some more tension. You could bring the hands back behind you. Just playing around with where you want to add a little more or where you need to take something away. We are all individuals, and that is one of the nice things of practicing at home, perhaps on our own, is that we haven't got a room full of people to compare ourselves with. We start to think that we want to get into shapes that someone else's body's doing, but often at our own detriment. Just listen to what your body needs. Different shaped hip sockets, different lengths of leg bones, different spine shapes are all going to mean that we're going to be able to reach different places. Some people are able to forward bend much more comfortably than they are able to back bend. Some people seem to be able to twist beautifully, what we might look at and think looks kind of like that they're in a place of ease rather than struggling. And it may not be because they practice more or that they've done more yoga. It could be that their body is just a different shape. And we can see shapes from the outside easily, but we can't see the inside shapes. So we have to rely on what are we feeling. You can hear and just see, I was just noticing that myself, I was starting to slide my chin forward, which collapses into the back of the neck. See if you can avoid that. And just 2 more breaths, wherever you are. As something eased. And then I want you to come out so slowly. If you've got that bottom leg tucked in and under, you'll lean slightly off to the left, straighten the bottom leg, meet us back in half shoelace. And as you start to make your way out, just note right throughout the body, go slow, get some feedback, notice what sensations are easing. As we start to come out of a pose, the compressions back away, so we get that flush of blood that comes into areas that we're compressing. We relax the tension on the back body and the fascia starts to contract back again. And there could be a lot of movement still in under the tissues. Remember that the tensions and the compressions are creating new cells, new fibroblast cells, fascial cells. We're stimulating the production of collagen and elastin, hyaluronic acid. We start to push out waste product. And all of that is going to create a sensation that we can feel, but we can't see. And then you're going to support that right leg, the top leg, lean back, bring that sole of the foot to the floor, and then you might need to help your left leg to bend that one. Just lean back, bring the hands back behind you, and just slowly let the knees drop from side to side. And notice how that feels. For me, very different on the right side than it is on the left. And then remembering that both sides could be very different. Straighten out the legs. Don't expect that what the right side could do, the left side can do now. And we're going to slide that right foot across towards the left. Bend the left leg. Bring that foot up and over. And we're looking over time, maybe, to slide that left foot out towards the outer right hip. And so just starting upright, notice already what's happening in the body. Maybe your body wants to lean off to one side. And if it does, that's okay. But maybe by bringing attention to it, you can level out a little. And then without muscling and pulling yourself forward, just keep the spine long and just lean in. What stopped you first of all? Is it the back of the right leg? Is it the outer left hip? Is it that your pelvis or your hip sockets don't want to allow you to lean forward? And then just pause. And breathe. And soften. And follow the signals of the body. Maybe you're able to lean in a little further. Maybe that creates too much compression into the back leg. Maybe you want to put a prop in underneath. You can let the forehead drop down and rest onto your hands. You could put the hands get into prayer position just to give you a resting place for the head. Turn again. I want you just to watch here that as you do lean forward, that it's not just a rounding through the spine. So if you just round and collapse the spine, then chances are you don't get any new feedback through the hips. You want to keep the spine nice and long and just lean in. As I said, maybe a block in underneath that bottom leg. Checking in with your breath. Checking in and noticing what stops you. Where is the tension? Where is the compression? What are the sensations? Physical, mental and emotional. And you send breath down into anywhere that is feeling a little challenged. And are you creating tension somewhere in the body that really doesn't have anything to do with the pose? Check the tension in the forehead, the eyes, the shoulders, the jaw. Are you gripping with the hands? Are you scrunching the toes? Option, and it is just an option. If you're pretty happy where you are and that's enough, then stay with it. Otherwise, you could lean back and slide that right foot over towards the outer left hip. You're looking for the knees to stack over time. Blocking under the bottom knee would be okay, between the knees. And if you're leaning off to one side, great, but see if you can soften and let that left hip feel like it might sink towards the floor, even if it doesn't today. And either staying upright or leaning in. I've seen this pose with different body shapes, and before I was kind of more aware of how that impacts a pose. I always felt like I would see people folding forward with their forehead on the floor and think, how am I ever going to get there? And I try and I push, and perhaps in different styles of yoga, but my body will never get there. My torso's not long enough. The density between my legs is too far. There's no way I'm going to get my head to the floor. And once I could let go of that and accept that that's not my body, that I'm getting enough out of the pose, I'm getting as much as anyone else who's leaning and getting their forehead to the floor. You can soften and let go of judgment, pushing and forcing. And just listen. You'll be the first to know if you're going too far. You'll be the first to know if there's space for more. Some days it's the body that says no thanks. Some days it's the mind that says no thanks. Scan through the body for 2 more breaths and see if there's anything you can soften. Some poses we fully want to rush out of, and other times we get a little comfortable and think we might like to stay there for longer. If that's the case, pause me, stay with it. But just come upright, and if you've got that bottom leg tucked in and under, just lean back, move super slow, and start to straighten that bottom leg out, and we'll all meet in half shoelace. Notice what changed from moving into an upright position, what tension eased, what compressions did you release, and then support that top leg, unravel, groan away all you like, support that straight leg and bend the knee, hands back behind you. And then just rock from side to side, getting a little bit of gentle movement in. And then we're going to tuck the feet again off to one side, and I highly recommend padding in under your knees for where we're heading next. I have blocks out this side, and I am going to turn, so I'll keep blocks that way. Those of you who have done a bit of practice, you know where we're heading with this one. So plenty of padding under the knees if you're on a hard floor. Coming up high onto your knees, and you're going to step your right leg forward. So just make sure when you step it forward that you haven't gone too narrow. If you go narrow, you're going to feel wobbly. So you just want to make sure that your right knee is out in line with its own hip. And then I want you just to play around with coming into a lunge, and when you lunge, sorry, I'll turn sideways. Turn this way for a moment. That when you lunge, that the knee and ankle stay more in line, rather than the ankle being back behind the knee here. It's a beautiful pose if you want to lengthen the Achilles tendon and the sole of the foot, but for today we want to get more into the hip flexor, so I want you to make sure that that foot is a little further forward, so knee and ankle in line. And it could be even a little further forward in the foot, but not too far. And then you want that padding under your left knee to support the knee. So I want you to lean forward, bring your hands down onto the blocks on any setting, high, low, medium. Tuck your back toes under, and then you're going to walk that left knee back a little further. So you get more onto the quad. Sorry, I'll turn again. More onto the quad than onto the kneecap. When I'm back here, I'm onto my kneecap. It feels uncomfortable. When I'm able to get a little further back with that leg, I get more into the quad, so my kneecap's not on the floor. And for many of us, that's going to mean we need to adjust that front foot. I'll stay this direction. So I now want you to press into your front foot. Send your hips back and bring your hands onto your front thigh, so more so that you've got your hip, your left hip in line with the left knee. And then just see if you can square the hips a little, soften that right sitting bone down towards the left inner thigh. And then from here, with the spine upright rather than leaning forward, start to just lean in, sink in. Pelvis drops down and forward. If you've got blocks or cushions, you can pop something onto your front knee to support you here. Checking in, there is going to be some compression in the lower back where our spinous processes start to move towards each other. And again, depending on your body, your shape of your bones, some of us that could happen much more quickly than it will with others. So check in, see that that compression is not too much, not too little, just enough. Soften the shoulders, not wasting energy on drawing the shoulders up around the ears or tensing the jaw, scrunching the eyes. Option also, if you've got plenty of props, is you could put a stack of blocks in underneath that the right thigh. It's going to give you a little landing pad, and again that sense of security that you're not going to overstretch. And now I want you to lean forward. If you've got blocks in under the legs, you can shift those, bring them in under the hands. Your hands can come to the floor. And now our right side is compressing onto the right thigh. Getting it really into the liver channel here. That's where the liver line is, and it's actually where the liver sits. Just into that right side of the abdomen. And chances are the sensation, the tension that you're feeling could be in the left hip flexor, into the front of the quad, into the lower abdominals, let the head hang, thinking about what stops you here, tension or compression, physical, emotional, mental. Some days it just seems a little harder than others. The mind starts to wander off and you're starting to count time. Just come to the breath. Now maybe count the breath. Count how long it's taking you to inhale. Count how long it's taking you to exhale. And if the exhales are a little shorter than the inhales, see if you can start to extend them. You want to start to signal to the body to come into rest and repair. Not fight and flight, so extending the exhale is going to help with that. Nice big full breath in through the nose and sigh this one out. And twice as slow as you think you want to move. And this one we often want to rush out of. If you've got your hands on the floor, see if you can just elevate yourself a little by coming onto a block or books, or even onto your front thigh. And then press ever so slowly into your front foot and start to send the hips back. Just rock back and forward a few times to get that little bit of movement. And then we'll take a little rebound by sliding that front foot back. Make your way all the way down onto your belly. You could keep a prop in under the pelvis. Lower yourself down, cross the forearms, turn the head to one side. And then just tune into the echo of the pose. What are you feeling? What's left over? And underneath the skin, what kind of activity are you feeling? Perhaps in around that left hip flexor. Maybe into the right in the groins.
connect into the breath here, as you can often feel the belly breathing into the floor, and the floor creates a compression and sends the breath into the back body, maybe into the mid-chest and right in under the armpits. And we've still got one side to go. We're not quite there yet, but not far. So super slow. Again, start to make your way back into a kneeling position. Pop that prop back in under the knees. And just when you come up, just take a little hula hoop with the hips, little circles, taking the hips in one direction, then in the other. And this time we're going to step the left leg forward. So step it forward and then just play around to start with, and seeing when you come into your deepest lunge that the ankle and knee are in line. You could use the blocks straight away and underneath the hands. Tuck the back toes under. Remember, we want to try and get as much onto our quad as we can rather than our kneecap. Another option here for those of you who have got any issues in the knee is that you could, fold your cushion or a block and put it under the shin. So here my knee's not touching the floor at all. I'm completely off the floor. And then I want you to come upright. So press into your front foot, send the hips back a little, roll the shoulders back and down, and then just gently bend into that front knee, taking this little back bend we're getting here. So you can soften the outer left hip, let that leg or sitting bone feel like it wants to drop towards the right inner thigh. And scan and notice what stops you. Chances are it's this time going to be into the front of the right hip, but it could be in around the lower back. If that's the case, send the hips back a little. Connect into the breath. Nice full inhale, long slow exhale. These dragon poses, they're called, it can create a little bit of fire in the body. They are probably one of the more heating of the yin poses. And then from here we're going to lean forward. We can press between the belly and the thigh. Again, squeezing into the liver channel, even though the liver's not on that side. Hands could be on blocks, hands could be onto the floor. Let the head hang and the hips drop down and forward. Let gravity take over here. Nice full inhale, long slow exhale. Scanning the body to see what stops you from moving forward, tension or compression, physical or emotional. And some of the tensions are really obvious. Maybe that right hip flexor, maybe into the left glute and left hamstring. But even here you might notice that you feel some tension in around the shoulders. The weight of the head is adding a layer of tension. Soften the jaw, soften the eyes. Anytime it feels too much, maybe you've got the option to lift away a little, to press into the front foot, to send the hips back a little. could even in this pose pop a block or a cushion in underneath that back thigh, which again gives you that sense of security, sense of safety, that you're not going to overdo things. Once you land on there, the body can relax. And when it relaxes and softens, then you realise that, okay, perhaps I could have gone a little further. One more full breath in, stay with it. Big sigh out. And then making your way back like you're in slow motion. Start to reverse slightly out of the pose, hands come in under the shoulders to lift you up a little. The temptation is to rush, but feel the sensations, feel the body changing. Press into that front foot. Slide the hips back a little. Once you get back, then just rock back and forward. And some movement back in. And then slide that front foot back. Okay, lay back down onto the belly. Seeing if you can remember which side you had your head turned to. Make a little pillow for yourself and turn the head. Again, taking this rebound, this time between the poses so that you can allow the tissues to respond. What sensation is left, what residue, what movements? Does one side of the body feel heavier than the other? Maybe one leg feels longer than the other. How is the physical body feeling, but how is the emotional body feeling? And then nice and slow, just start to make your way over onto your back. You can shift your props off to the side. You could put a cushion in underneath the knees or under the head if you feel like you want a bit of support. And then just hug the knees in towards you. Take a little rock from side to side. You can have the legs stretched out long, or you could have the feet apart but the knees together. And then just gently press your elbows into the floor and slide the shoulders away from the ears. Let the hands rest down onto the body, away from the body, onto the floor, palms facing up. Taking that nice full inhale through the nose, and then exhale out through the mouth. Feel the body drop on the exhale, sigh it out. Maybe there's plenty of sensation still going on inside the body. But let's see if we can find this shape, this Shavasana or corpse pose it's called. Finding complete stillness here. And as always, we want to take what we learn on our yoga mat out into our life. So sometimes learning to notice what stops me from moving forward on my mat could also help you to look at what stops you from moving forward in life, or what do you need to back away from? And if you have time to stay with this for any longer, then I highly recommend it. Otherwise, we're at our hour. So you can super slow start to make your way over onto your side. Again, just listen to the sensations, listen to the feedback of the body. Like slow motion, no hurries, no worries. We always want to check in and see how our yoga practice has left us. And it's a pretty good indication of whether we overdid things. Supporting yourself to come into an upright position if you're closing up now. Any seated position. And then turn the palm, reach the palms away from you, turn the biceps out, broadening across the front of the chest into that kind of open-hearted shape. And then inhale to raise the arms up, looking up, let the palms connect, close the eyes down, hands come down through the midline and rest in front of the heart. And then bow down to yourself. Namaste. Enjoy your day.